Okay, so good afternoon. Shall I start? So once again, my name is Takahashi, and I would like to present, as Professor Muhinanga mentioned, about the GPS data for the urban transport planning. Before that, I came all the way from Japan. And some of you might think, why this guy from Japan? As Professor Muhinanga mentioned, my first career here in Dar es Salaam, I was teaching at Daltech or DIT back in 1993. So almost 35 years ago, I was here. Then after that, we worked together for preparation of the Urban Transport Master Plan, 2007. Also, 2010, I was also studying the New Bagamoyo widening project, supported by JICA. Another one is flyover, the first flyover in Tanzania. That is the Tazara. Then also I did the study on the Arusha Horiri, which is underway under the Ministry of Works, and that's why I'm here. So today, taking the case study from Lao, I would like to briefly explain this one. About the GPS, the mobile GPS, I think some of you already might be aware. When you download the application to your smartphone, so you just click and then accept to download. But if you carefully read the clauses, that clause clearly mentions the location data can be shared with the third party. So your smartphone, while you are using the application, is censored and monitored with your location. So that's what we use as the base information. So that is how to collect the GPS data. So this is the research background. So as Dar es Salaam already experienced, there's a rapid urban growth and traffic congestion still emerging and getting worse and worse. So the master plan, which was prepared together with Professor Muhinanga, it was 2007. The JICA continued to conduct and also prepare another master plan, 2018. Always this master plan is outdated, and there is no way to upgrade or revise the master plan. Number one, as the challenge of the conventional survey, master plan survey mentioned, it is very expensive to conduct the conventional traffic survey. So if you are the transport engineer, you know what kind of the transport survey required for the preparation of the master plan. Home interview survey, screen survey, traffic count, public transport passenger interview survey, parking survey, etc. So to obtain all these data, it is quite expensive, and it is very difficult to upgrade or revise the master plan by the local authority. So currently we can use this smartphone and also the GPS data, and which is commercially available for anyone. So I take the case studies in Laos, one of the Asian country. Then this is the procedure of the research. First, we acquired the GPS data and we did some basic analysis. After that, we also did some literature review and also did some more thorough or detailed analysis of the GPS data. And in order to get the reliable models using this GPS data for the transport planning, we compare the conventional traffic survey result with the GPS data. So first step is the acquisition of the GPS data. In Laos or in Vientiane, in order to conduct the conventional traffic survey, we spend about $500,000 USD. Once again, home interview survey, parking survey, traffic count survey, passenger interview survey, etc. This actually requires a huge amount of the money. Even in Dar es Salaam, back in 2007, 2018, it is actually the JICA spend this amount of money just to collect the trip information. So on the other hand, as you see the GPS data, so you can acquire a huge amount of the data from the private company. So we spend only less than 5,000 USD to collect the 3-year consecutive data, in total 9 months. Again, to compare with the conventional traffic survey result. So in Laos, especially in Vientiane, where the population is not so much, about 600,000 people staying in Vientiane, the capital of the Laos. So when we buy this GPS data, we obtain about 25,000. You think this is a bit small, but it actually represents at least 4% or 5% of the population in Vientiane. By the way, I should mention that the Google, maybe you use the Android, or Apple, they actually also have this kind of the information, but they will not sell because they are using their own business and their own purpose. So only for those who download any application, this application have the contract with these companies and selling this information to those companies. So that's why the number of the devices acquired from the commercial sale is about 4%, the maximum. So we actually in the previous research, we did some modeling to define the trip from the GPS data. Then we, together with Dr. Nyaki, we proceed to characterize this trip information from the GPS data. So the first question is how many devices required to represent the population of the either mobile user or a trip maker. So I don't go to the detail, but in conclusion, at least 2%, if you have the 2% devices registered in some cities, and using this 2% of the device and the plot data, so this 2% can represent the population of the trip makers from our research result. So if you apply this result to Dar es Salaam, where 5 million or 6 million population, so you need at least, you can collect at least 100,000 devices And it's easy to purchase from the sellers. So the next analysis was made how to define the trip purpose by using again this smartphone and GPS data. Again, in conclusion, we see some, the up figure is the distribution of the trip purpose by using the conventional data. And the bottom figure shows the distribution of the trip purpose by using the smartphone. And you can see there are similar trend, but still when you look at the detailed share, then still there's some disparity. The result shows we need more thorough, or we need more detailed business, building information in order to identify the trip purpose. And we also did another analysis to define the trips by showing this design line or OD matrices. Again, as a result, the benefit of the GPS data actually can show more business trip purpose. The conventional the survey, the interviewee or interviewer or interviewee goes to the home and interview to the interviewee and asking, what time did you travel? And also, what time did you reach? How long will you stay? And how long will you take to come back home? And the interviewee actually hesitate to provide the detailed information. Either they forget or they don't want. And this is very comprehensive the survey. So that's why it is very difficult to get to those small trips, like going lunch, going meeting, and the shopping. So we found the benefit of the GPS data can easily get these small trips. We also compare the actual traffic survey, which we have done in this corridor, then compare with the GPS data. And finally, we found very cross correlation, meaning that using the GPS data, you can also estimate the number of the trip and also the route information. So as a result, as I say, in the conventional survey, we spend $500,000 at least to prepare the trip information. On the other hand, you can spend less, 100 times less to get the trip information from the GPS. And also the benefit is, as I say, you can get the small trips from the GPS data. But the challenge we found is there's some errors of the positioning, and which also result in the difficulty in identifying the trip purpose. So what is the lesson learned and also the applying to the restaurant? So we got a small budget, and we would like to continue apply this methodology to the restaurant, probably this year. Then also, it's not only the GPS data which you can use, but you can also use maybe someone from Tanros. They have an automated loop coil traffic information. And also, if it is lateral, Then LATRA also have the GPS data from for all the commercial vehicles, including Boda Boda. So all these data, that never be used for the planning purpose, but now it is the time to use these data, essential data, and a lot of data for the planning of the urban transport or even the national transport in order to alleviate the traffic problem, and also in line with this slogan, smart, green, integrated transport. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Takahashi, for that insightful presentation. GPS is a wonderful technology. It has made navigation very easy for us. It can tell you exactly where you are. If you are stuck in a traffic jam for 45 minutes, it will tell you you are here for 45 minutes. Unfortunately, we want to know why we are here for 45 minutes, but that is what it can tell you. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in thanking Mr. Takahashi for the presentation. Our next presentation is on a very interesting topic that is on everybody's lips, that is AI, artificial intelligence, and it will be presented by Dr. Sarwat. I hope she's around. Yes, can you come in front, please? So Dr. Doreen Sarwat is a lecturer in the Department of Computing and Communication Technology at NIT. She received her PhD in Computer Science and Technology from University of Science and Technology, Beijing. Her research interests include artificial intelligence, intelligent transportation system, autonomous systems, cybersecurity, and the like. She has authored more than 26 peer-reviewed publications, and she also serves as a reviewer for heading international journals and conferences. Dr. Sarwat, the floor is yours. I don't know. Somebody to assist in launching her presentation, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Doreen Sarwat from NIT, and I'm here to present our paper, which is titled AI-Ready Traffic Data Engineering Framework for Reusable ITS Analytics in Data-Scarce Urban Environment. Starting with the background and the motivation, at the moment we know that we can use AI in intelligent transportation system, and especially in the urban traffic management, there are activities such as the short-term traffic forecasting, the traffic state recognition, the anomaly detection. So all these require the use of AI in order to perform these activities. And on the other hand, we have the data engineering challenge. So with the AI bottleneck at the moment, there exists a challenge before model training occurs. So this leads to limited or fragmented traffic observation, the repeated task, specific data preparation, and as well as limited reuse of engineered data across application. So the current problem is that the specific IH pipeline often reconstruct data preparation and analytical configuration. This limits the systematic reuse of the traffic data representation. So now, what motivated us is that we needed to have reusable AI-ready traffic data representation, and this is needed so as to support different ITS tasks. In terms of the research gap, at the moment, according to ITS research, already it covers the data acquisition and integration, addressing the road networks, the sensors, the GPS, the multimodal data, etc. And also, there is coverage on synthetic and augmented data, and also the AI-based traffic analytics, which addresses the forecasting, data, traffic state analysis, and anomaly detection. So the gap remains in the integration between these three. So now we know that these existing studies, they address the individual component. So just less attention has been given to the end-to-end data engineering framework that can produce a reusable AI-ready representation and then be able to evaluate its usability across the ITS tasks. So the gap which we addressed in this study is the end-to-end data engineering framework, which can achieve the reusable AI-ready traffic presentation for different task visibility evaluation. Hence, our objective was to design and evaluate the end-to-end traffic data engineering framework, which can create an AI-ready representation for different ITS tasks in the data-scarce urban environment. So from this objective, we had three contributions. The first one was to develop the end-to-end engineering framework, then to establish the AI-ready data presentation, and lastly, to demonstrate the feasibility across the three ITS tasks. We followed this architecture. So our architecture has 5 layers, and we separate the reusable data engineering from the task-specific ITS analytics. So the first layer was the sensing layer. So this one was the one which dealt with the acquisition of the traffic observation. And then the second layer was the ingestion layer. This one dealt with the validation, the harmonization of the traffic observation, and hence the standardization of the data. And the third layer was the processing layer, which dealt with the cleaning of the data. Then from these 3 layers, we are able to achieve an output, which is now the AI-ready traffic data representation, which consists of the different records, such as the spatial temporal records, the reusable engineered features, as well as the task-ready analytical variables. Then from the output of this output became an interface to the 4th layer, which is the AI service layer, which comprises of the 3 tasks, which where these tasks are the ones which we validate. So with these 3 tasks, they had different configurations, and also from the AI service layer, we had the last layer, which was called decision support layer. But this decision support layer will be implemented and evaluated in future work. Then now, in order for us to be able to achieve the IA-ready representation from the raw traffic, first we need to have our input, so capturing of our traffic observation, but we did this from the synthetic data traffic because at the moment we had a shortage of data, so we used the synthetic data as our input. Then we validate and standardize. Then we had to integrate and engineer, which include all the cleaning processes. Then we are able to achieve our output, which was the AI-ready traffic representation. So For us to achieve this AI-ready traffic representation, we had to use evaluation criteria, and we had 60 evaluation criteria to use. So at the moment, there is no AI-ready readiness universal standard, so we had to derive our criteria from the data principle literature, and then we came up with our own criteria, which are 6, which consist of the schema consistency, the spatial referencing, the temporal alignment, and the feature completeness, label integrity, as well as the feature configurability. Then from there, we had to go hand in hand to those 3 tasks, which were traffic forecasting, traffic state recognition, as well as anomaly detection. So with these 3 tasks were configured independently from the synthetic data. Then we can say that from here we can have the AI-ready representation, and it can be shared, but the predictors, the targets, the models, and the evaluation metric will remain task-specific. In terms of experimental design, we considered controlled evaluation setting, and then we considered a RESLAM road network from the OpenStreetMap. We only used the 300 road segments. It means we considered those primary, secondary roads. We considered the motorway, the truck roads. And then for the generation, we had to use the rule-based and probabilistic traffic generation. And we used 2 days for simulation, and with the interval of 5 minutes. So in the total, we were able to obtain the 172,800 observations. So from there, with AI-ready representation, we had to use the standardization and validation. And at the end, we were able to obtain only 67 engineered features, which we used for validation. And we had 168,900 usable observations. So in terms of validation, for the task of forecasting, we had to use the 5 minutes ahead by using 1 hour historical context. With the traffic state recognition, we considered the 3 classes, either is it a free flow or moderate flow or congested flow. And in terms of anomaly detection or incident detection, we only used 10% of the controlled observation synthetic anomalies. Means we had to inject these anomalies, only 10% of it. Then in terms of experimental protocol, we had to use 3 machine learning models. We considered the decision tree model, the random forest, and the XGBoost. We used this because at the moment they are well recognized, and then at the same time, they are tabular leaning baselines compared to the rest. And then for the validation, we had to, for the recognition and the anomaly tasks, we had to use 8F20, like 28 for training, then 20 for testing sample. And then for the forecasting, we had to use the chronological split, meaning that earlier observation were used for training, then those later observation we used then for testing. And then we had to maintain the leakage, and then we had to do this by excluding the feature targets and those target defining variables. So we use different metrics for these different tasks, such as accuracy, balanced accuracy, R square, etc. So now, with what was reused across these 3 ITS tasks, so the shared AI-ready traffic data representation is what was reused between the tasks. And then we had only 67 engineered features, but now coming to individual tasks, these 3 tasks were configured independently, and each one had its own output. This output came from the synthetic data set, and then the target were as follows. We had the vehicle count at at current time t plus 5 minutes as our target for the traffic forecasting. Then for traffic state recognition, our target was either is it a free, moderate, congested flow, and for anomaly detection, we had is it either abnormal traffic or is it anomalous traffic. So here, we can claim that the reuse was at the engineered representation level, but each task was configured independently. So in terms of results, starting with the first task, which was the forecasting, traffic forecasting, we can see that from our line graph, our task was the 5-minute ahead vehicle count forecasting, and you can see that between the observed vehicle count and the predicted vehicle count, you can see there is a slightly change. So we can say that this AI data representation was able to support the 5-minute ahead vehicle count forecasting. So we use the 5-minute, which is the short term for forecasting. But we also tested what if we use 15-minute ahead or 30, 60, but results also were the same. The change was very little. With the traffic state recognition, our task was to determine the 3 traffic state recognition. So using our dot plot, you can see that from the results, either dealing with the free flow or moderate flow or congested flow, our F1 score was almost equal to 1. So we can say that we are able to achieve higher class recognition performance. And then we are able to do this by being able to control the leakage. In terms of anomaly detection, which our task was to check the binary traffic anomaly detection, it means we were able to identify or predict normal versus abnormal traffic. So you can see from our confusion matrix, we had the results as follows. We had the false positive as 116, this is not bad. And then false positive is 875, also not bad. So we can say that with our random forest model, we had the highest attack class F1, while the other model, which is the XGBoost, also showed the discrimination performance. So compared with the 3 tasks, the forecasting, which is a regression task, and these 2, which are classification task, we can see the results, and each one showed the evidence of the usability. So in terms of validation scope and future work, at the moment what we are able to establish is in this study was the reusable data engineering workflow, and the remaining task for future is we need to validate using the sensing system and the operational traffic observation. And the second is the AI-ready representation was constructed. Now the remaining part is extending beyond the 2-day synthetic horizon, and we need to evaluate the cross-network as well as cross-city transfer, because now we have seen that this can work for Dar es Salaam city. What about if you use Kampala city or any other cities? Can it work? We have to see through that. And then we are able to establish the cross-task configuration, and the remaining task is we need to assess the streamlining, the latency, the throughput, the scalability, as well as the operational robustness. And then we did this, we used the controlled technical feasibility, but now the future should be, we need to evaluate also other ITS tasks, because at the moment we dealt with only 3 tasks. Also, what about heterogeneous sensing sources and also multimodal data environment? So conclusion-wise, we can say that we are able to, our proposed approach, which is the architecture was developed, and then we were able to do the cross-task evaluation for the 3 tasks, which was traffic recognition, traffic state recognition, the forecasting, and the anomaly detection. And then the controlled technical feasibility. So our results were able to support the controlled technical feasibility of the representation level reuse, across this task without require identical task data set or even a predictive model. This is the end. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. 𝙤𝙖. Please join me in thanking Dr. 𝙤𝙖 for the presentation. Our next presentation is by Dr. Patrick Urasa. Yeah, can you come in front? The presentation is titled Automation of Train Driving in Open Railway Networks. Dr. Patrick Urasa is a PhD in railway engineering from the Norwegian University of Science and Technology, and his research focuses on the implementation of automatic train operation in open railway networks. He has published many papers in various international conferences and international journals. So, Dr. Patrick, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Patrick Urasa, and I'm here to present one of our work. I was with my supervisor, Niels Olsson, and the title is Automation of Train Driving in Open Railway Network. So in the course of presentation, I'll walk you through introduction, methodology, finding, conclusion, and future research avenue. So starting with an introduction, railway traffic is experiencing notable growth, and this is evidenced in literature and in multiple studies, multiple contexts. For example, in China, between 2000 and 2013, they recorded an increase in passenger by 5.5%, while in North America, rail carries approximately 25 to 50 of land-based freight. And according to European rail agents, in 2015, passenger demand grew by 5.8. And this is example of railway station, which is evidenced in many contexts, even in our railway. And with that, more passenger, higher demand, create pressure in railway capacity and operation, so which eventually trigger the need for more efficient railway operation. So what is needed to be done? We need to have a cost-effective way to counteract the situation. And someone can say maybe building new infrastructure or expanding the existing one. But that's not really cost-effective, because building new infrastructure or expanding the existing one, it's both time-consuming and also it's expensive. So with that in mind, European Union funded different projects that aim to use digitalization and automation. The purpose is to come up with a high-capacity, flexible, and reliable railway network. And within these projects, EU-funded projects cover various areas such as train driving, train supervision, traffic management system, and so on and so forth. So in this particular presentation, I'll walk you through train driving automation. And there's three technologies here involved in train driving automation. That is automatic train operation, remote train operation, and driver advisory system. So automatic train operation is a technology which assists the driver in driving activity. And from lower level, for example, grade of automation 1, this GOA 1, it's assist the driver. But in higher level, like GOA 3 and GOA 4, it's even replace the driver from driving. And another technology is remote train operation, where the train is equipped with a necessary component which enable it to be driven from a distance location. And last technology is driver advisory system. This is a technology which advises the driver on how to drive in an efficient manner. And the difference between this and the other two is that this driver advisory system just gives an advice only. It doesn't execute the command. So coming to the next picture here, The title of my presentation is Automatic Train Operation in Open Network. So the picture represents a typical example of open network. You can have a lot of definition from the picture. First of all, it's old locomotive. Old train, which implies that it's an old technology. And also there is snow, which also indicates that the extreme weather condition. And it's open. There's indicate interaction with other mode of transportation. And by far you can see mountains, which indicate that it's mountainous terrain. So this is where we want to implement automation in this technology. So with that, we try to see the constraint associated with the open network. First of all, we have a human-dependent infrastructure design, and another thing is open network vulnerability. Open network, it's open to everything. And another constraint we consider inherent challenge of automation. That is to say that automation in itself cannot deal with a new situation. It has to be pre-trained. So open network comes with a lot of surprises, and automation faces challenge when dealing with the surprises. So another constraint we took into consideration is non-interoperable infrastructure, while the other one is aging operator-dependent train, and last constraint is operational diversities. In open network, there's different rules and regulations from one place to another, and all of this we took into consideration. The purpose is to come up with the automation for all open rail network context. And to implement the automation, driverless in this kind of technology, it's a very big leap. So what we did is we came with a stepwise implementation, and we believed that remote train operation is the technology which is suitable in that stepwise implementation, because it's retained driver is still in a control loop. In the methodology, we did have 3 research questions, and we use approach of we use a socio-technical system where we have a technology, people, and process. And research question number 1 address technology part. Research question number 2 address people part, and research question number 3 address process part. And in terms of philosophical stance of the study, we were pragmatist, and now we categorize our study into 3 sections: technology, people, and process. And here I'll just walk fast a bit. And now we use the research onion metaphor to kind of unfold how research was conducted. So now I'm peeling off the onion to see the inner layer of the research. And then the most important part here in this research layer is this last part here, where technique and procedures, where it's most visible part in doing research. And in technology part, we use systematic literature review, while in people part, we had interviews train drivers to ask them about their opinion, perception, and what do they see about the automation. And in process part, we had a questionnaire, survey, which we distribute questionnaires, and we had a field testing and some observation. So now we are entering into interesting part, and we organize our finding in terms of addressing research question. So research question number 1 was, how do different railway infrastructure enable or limit implementation of train driving automation in open railway networks? And this addressed people technology part. We focus on all 3 technologies, and here I will only discuss about European Train Control System, ETCS, and Chinese Train Control System, CTCS. So in simple terms, this research question was asking how signaling system enable or limiting automation. So what we discover is that signaling system were designed with human operation in mind. It was human-centered design. And then high automation system comes with the minimum human intervention. So you have This one is human design centric, and then this one reduce human involvement. So this kind of create integration challenges. So what is needed to be done is to have like a specific operational and technical adaptation. And this was for both ETCS and CTCS. And that is to say that we need to have a control architecture or specification for higher grade of automation. And another research question number 2 was how do train driver tacit practice and perception of automation shape the possibility for implementing train driving automation in open network? This addressed the people part, and I'll walk you through train driver practices that represent human-dependent limit to automation, and also train driver challenge addressed by automation. Yep, first of all, some of the human-dependent limit to automation is this degraded mode operation. When it happened there's a degraded mode in train operation, the special movement authority is granted, and this special movement authority is communicated between the driver and someone in the control center. So with automation, without human on board, it means this will be challenged to address this, this movement authority to be granted. And another thing is adjustment. In open network, because it's open in nature, train can hit anything. Like for example, in Norway, where you have large wild animal, train can hit wild animal and damage some of the components. So you need someone to just fix a bit and to let the journey continue. So with automation, this will have a challenge. Another thing is evacuation, and the train driver, they're responsible for evacuation and crowd management. So we thought like if train driver is not there on board, who will be responsible for crowd management in case of anything? Another thing is first aid to passengers. Train driver, they are medically trained to assist the passenger in case of anything, and also they are responsible to coordinate the emergency call, calling the police, or coordinating the ambulance and those kind of stuff. Another thing is localization. Train driver is responsible to tell you where you are, and for example, if you have stopped it, the reason why you have stopped it, because it's somehow annoying when you have stopped it and you don't know why you have stopped it. Another thing is G-force sensation. In winter time, in winter, train driver, they are using the G-force sensation to gauge how much they brake or how much they accelerate, because when there's leaves on a truck, you kind of having difficulty in having a traction. So the train driver use the G-force sensation, they kind of feel how much they brake and how much they accelerate. So with this sensory feedback, we don't have it currently integrated into automation, so we will have challenge in addressing that. So this indicate how intricate context-dependent nature of train driver expertise. And also another thing is challenge addressed by automation. And here you have human error, you have fatigue, tardiness, you have strikes from the train driver, you have station operation variabilities. All of these were addressed by automation. So when you have automation, you have faster recovery from delay, extended period of operation, operational flexibility, and other human-centered issues are solved by automation. Research question number 3 is how can remote driving be operationalized in open network? So this addressed the process part, and focus only was in remote train operation. And I'll walk you through prototyping and field testing. And in prototyping and field testing, we create a demo train from scratch, and we integrated some perception system. We had some measurement and instrumentation, and eventually we managed to put our train running in open network. And testing, and we had our testing in different locations in Norway and Sweden, and these are specification for testing site. And we had in live demonstration, we were televised by Norwegian television. This is like a TBC of Norway, and here is a short clip of our thing. It has subtitles. It doesn't have voice. Yeah, I'm sorry about the voice. Yep. Conclusion and future research avenue. So in conclusion, technology, people, and process are interconnected. That is to say, automation and signaling system must work together. But currently, human-centric design of signaling system create integration challenge when human involvement is reduced. So you need specific operation and technical adaptation. In people part, human cognitive limit and expertise should shape the technical design of the system. And also, this essential situation task still require human. We cannot really automate everything. And train driver must be prepared for redefined responsibilities, because for sure, some of their tasks will be taken away. In process part, operational procedure must be redesigned to align with automation constraints, and process must be adapted to ensure safe coordination among all components. So that is to say, automation should not replace the driver, but rather to complement. We need to have a human-centric automation for open network. Yep. Future research avenue, continue developing integrated system architecture for higher automation level. Examine operational impact in open network through empirical real-world data, because what we have done is based on pre-deployment and deployment phase. So once this technology is implemented, then you can have, you can collect the data and do some analysis to look at, to see how impact it has in operation. And lastly, test large rolling stock, higher speed, more complex track geometry, and denser operational environment. This marks the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Urasa. I think the audience has already appreciated your presentation even before I said anything. It's very interesting. Driverless trains. It's good that such innovative and breakthrough technologies are presented to experts like this audience. I was just thinking, we Tanzanians love the SGR train, as the keynote speaker has said. But I was just thinking, you go to the train station in Dar es Salaam, SGR, and it's full, it's about to depart. People are happy and are waiting to depart towards Morogoro, Dodoma, and you announce that this train is driverless. I was just wondering how many people will rush out of the train immediately. So, Dr. Urasa, thank you very much. Now our next presenters will be online. We are starting with paper number 404, Ionis Ionu from Florida Atlantic University. Team, have you set up the... Mr. I'm sorry if I mispronounce your name. Ionis Ionu, are you ready? Can you hear us?
I think I can bear with you, but can you hear me?
Can you hear us? Can you hear me?
I can't hear you. Can you hear?
Okay, so our next presenter is, as I said, I'm not sure if our next presenter is Mr. I'm sorry if I pronounced it You'll pronounce it wrongly, but the best I could do is Mr. Ionis Ionu, who has been an FMRI researcher since 2023. He holds an integrated bachelor's and MSc in mechanical engineering from the University of West Attica. And his work spans multiple projects in freight transportation, particularly in big data, data mining, and optimizing freight operations. His research interests focus on emerging technologies like autonomous vehicles, electric vehicles, and truck platooning. So, Mr. Ionu, the floor is yours. You can start your presentation.
Yeah, I hope you can hear me. I will start sharing my screen. Give me a minute. Okay, there I am. Can you please confirm once again that you can hear me? Either on chat or, I don't know, WhatsApp with Dr. Muya.
Recording in progress. Recording stopped.
Okay, nice. I think you can hear me. So I will start proceeding and I will start my presentation. I hope you can see it in full presentation mode. Hello everyone, my name is Ioannis Ioannou and I'm currently pursuing my PhD at the Florida Atlantic University. I really appreciate the opportunity for having us here presenting our research. I would like to start with the title for presentation. The title of our presentation is Optimizing Rural Healthcare Accessibility. Evaluation with AI-driven gravity radiation modeling under data availability limitations. During our today's presentation, I will walk you through our introduction, problem statement, selective literature review, case study methodology, results, conclusions, and some associated benefits with this research. First of all, I would like to share some data, some information related to the rural counties in the United States. As you can see from the map on the right-hand side, roughly 18% of the US population currently resides in these rural regions. This accounts for more than 60 million people. Populations there tend to be older on average with limited healthcare and mobility options. That's associated with the concern we have with their accessibility quality. Also, there are some infrastructural concerns in that regions. We have sparse transportation networks and longer travel distances, while limited public transit availability is also evident. There are some technology gaps as well. There is limited deployment of connected automated vehicles because of the problems associated with infrastructure readiness, and also some, let's say, issues with poor broadband and cellular coverage restricts even more the utilization and implementation of intelligent transportation systems. As of the current situation, there is growing federal and state focus on enhancing accessibility in rural mobility, and there are many incentives, mainly financial, from the US Department of Transportation, trying to invest and improve the accessibility in these areas. The cost of accessibility in general is something that has been long established in transportation planning literature as a fundamental measure of evaluating the extent and the quality of interactions between development patterns and the transportation system that serve them. In this context, let's say, accessibility constitutes the ability of different individuals to reach a central destination. This can include primary health care, social services, emergency amenities, education, and employment opportunities. So there is this thing associated with special accessibility healthcare population, which constitutes a critical determinant of population well-being. And this is something which remains, as of now, let's say, a central concern in public health and transportation planning. I believe that's something that is true for not only the United States, but everywhere else in the world. There are numerous ways and methods to quantify this accessibility. Let's say we can use indicators associated with travel costs or other indicators that might be associated with the quantity and the quality of available opportunities. However, let's say in a macro level analysis, population flow has been proven to constitute a practical and, let's say, intuitive method for estimating access to services. So for that, we have two main methods. Method number one is the well-known gravity model, which draws, let's say, an analogy to Newton's law of gravitation in order to approximate rings. And also we have the radiation model, which is utilized in order to, let's say, more realistically consider any intermediate opportunities and the impact that they might have to the actual travel. So the problem statement which motivated this research was that access to healthcare facilities is essential and should be considered as a fundamental right in modern societies. And what we found out was that over the past couple of decades, healthcare accessibility has got increasing attention, particularly in addressing the geographical and difficult challenges faced by populations in those remote and undeserved areas. So evaluating healthcare accessibility constitutes, as we said, a complex task, which becomes even worse if we consider the fact that in most of those regions there is an absence of detailed mobility data, which are required in order to be integrated in both geographic and which are required in order to integrate both geographic and population characteristics. So moving forward, we would like to present some, let's say, selective literature regarding the different approaches that have been implementing from similar research papers. As you can see, we have divided the selective literature review let's say, in two segments. Segment number one are the gravity-based models. We have research from Tanser et al. 2006, which actually implemented, let's say, a pure gravity model, while more recent studies, they have utilized, let's say, gravity-based models, such as the well-known two-step floating catchment area. Additionally, as we said, there is this radiation model, which has been introduced back to 2012. And that was introduced as a stochastic, let's say, approach to model local mobility decision by capturing the influence of those, let's say, intermittent opportunities, which might have an impact on travelers' destination choices. And also, we thought that what we can do, what our contribution can be, is that we can utilize those two methods, not in isolation, but we can combine them in, let's say, a hybrid framework. And the reason why we want to do that is because normally we have those OD matrices, which might be associated with, let's say, let's say, great computational burden. So for that, we have to do something in order to, let's say, implement, let's say, a more heuristic approach. So without having the need to actually check all of those OD pairs, to have, let's say, a better guess on which pairs we should focus. And in order to reduce the computational burden, but still maintain some good approximation quality. And also, in order to do that, we wanted to test our method in multiple resolution approaches. So as we move from coarser to finer resolution approaches, the problem associated with this is that the size of the matrix can increase. So for that, the computational burden can increase. And we thought that if the proposed hybrid gravity radiation framework is not enough, what we can do is that we can utilize some machine learning techniques in order to enhance the predictivity performance of this framework by, let's say, performing a high parameter tuning, as we can see in later slides. So for our case study, we selected the state of Florida because FAU is a university which currently operates in the state of Florida. FAU stands for Florida Atlantic University. We received funding to conduct this analysis for the state of Florida and to explore if there are any healthcare accessibilities and healthcare accessibility issues and how we can resolve them, which can be part of a future project. So as of now, the first part was to analyze, let's say, the static data we had from the state of Florida. As you can see from the map on the top right corner, we have the population distribution. As you can see, those areas with lighter color code constitute those so-called rural areas of opportunity, while the other areas with, let's say, darker color codes are the main metropolitan areas such as Miami, Tampa, Orlando, and Jacksonville. So what happens, the population distribution is exactly what happens, as you can see on the bottom left map with the hospital distribution. Of course, as you can expect, because of the regulated distribution, there are more hospitals located next to the big metropolitan areas, while there is not a sufficient, let's say, number of hospitals in those rural areas of opportunity that have been identified by the state of Florida. As we said, we are going to utilize this hybrid gravity radiation framework. So first thing first, we have to actually use initially the gravity model. So the gravity model is going to be utilized to the whole OD matrix, but the thing is that gravity model doesn't have parameters that grow exponentially because of the size of OD matrix. So in the first step, that gives us flexibility to actually utilize the gravity model to the whole OD matrix in order to, let's say, compute the attractiveness scores for hospitals. Then we can rank hospitals, and then we can select only the top 10 hospitals in order to feed them to the radiation model, which is associated with more computational burden, and that's the one we essentially want to reduce the computational burden associated with. As you can see from the formula, which is well known, what we need is the original population, hospital attractiveness, which in our case was the bed number in those hospitals, and then the distance decay function between the origin centroids and hospitals. So as we said, from the radiation model, we wanted to calculate the traveling probability, and then we can also calculate the potential traveling population, which is also derived from, let's say, a simple multiplication, which includes the traveling probability times the population at origin. So for that, as we said, instead of having the whole OD matrix, we can utilize only the top 10 most attractive hospitals for each destination, which, as you can see later, reduces the computational cost. And in this formula, we also have to take into account determinate opportunities calculated as the sum of hospital attractiveness within, let's say, the radius based on the geodesic distance between the origin and destination pairs. And as we said, the next step is to actually incorporate machine learning. So for that, we selected the random forest and XGBoost. There is nothing novel with the algorithms. It's just, let's say, an exploration of which algorithms might fit better this training process. The training goal is to actually minimize the discrepancy between the model predicted hospital variation shares and empirically observed visit percentages. Let's say a regression task. So some results associated with this one. First, this matrix here demonstrates the performance of this hybrid framework in regards of correlation and R-square results. So as we can see, we have the first realization is that steeper decay functions consistently produce strong linear correlations and R-square values greater to 0.94%. While what we saw was that as spatial resolution increases, our hypothesis was correct, because as we increase spatial resolution, the model more accurately captures the spatial interaction between the origin population and destination attractiveness. So that's something important, because, as we said, increasing the spatial resolution, moving towards finer spatial resolutions, is associated with higher computational burden. As you can see, we have more than 10 million residential parcels. If we go in that level, more than 6,000 census tracts and more than 67 counties in the state of Florida, while we have more than 500 healthcare clinics incorporated in the dataset we received from the state of Florida. So for that, as you can understand, it doesn't make sense if we want to move towards finer spatial resolution, such as census tract or residential parcel level. It doesn't make sense to have to check, let's say, the whole OD matrix. And also, it doesn't make sense to make, let's say, a random guess and say, okay, we're going to exclude all of those pairs that might be outside of an X miles radius, because this X miles radius is not, let's say, substantiated or backed from any results or any other, let's say, finding. It's something that we can use just to facilitate our research, but there is no any, let's say, official guideline that says, okay, don't consider hospitals or don't consider pairs outside, let's say, 50 miles radius. So the way we did incorporate machine learning was, let's say, in this machine learning-based hyperparameter tuning framework, which we use Optuna in order to optimize the core parameters. The core parameters we identified from this radiation model was the origin population, which was influenced, as you can see in the top right corner, from this alpha parameter. Then the impact of destination attractiveness, which was influenced by this beta parameter, and then impact of intervening opportunities by this gamma parameter. We found out that XGBoost outperformed random forest, especially in the log scale. XGBoost achieves the highest exploratory power, which is associated with an R-square value of 0.93. And as you can see, that's really close to the predicted currency of the pure, let's say, hybrid, the pure model without reducing the size, which means that we were actually able, by training this model, to actually end up having similar results without losing much of the predictive accuracy. As you can see in this map, which is like the overall idea of the travel cost associated with the residents in the state of Florida. As we said, we have those rural areas of opportunity. As you can see, let's say, in this map with darker color codes, or like, let's say, red color codes, you can see those rural areas of opportunity which actually experience higher travel burden, travel cost in order to travel to the coastal with the highest traveling probability. Also, we can say that in both track level and parcels level analysis that were associated with greater precision compared to coastal resolution, which highlights the need for solutions that are going to reduce the computational burden, but still be able to maintain high approximation quality. And that was something which we were able to achieve by utilizing this machine learning enhanced methodology, especially with this XGBoost algorithm, which was the one that performed better. But this doesn't mean that's like the one that might be better. Overall, it's the best amongst the ones we tested for this purpose. So let's say some benefits associated with this one is that we were able to provide a scalable methodology that enables large-scale healthcare accessibility assessment without the prohibitive computational burden associated with finer spatial resolutions, such as the ones associated with parcel and residential tracts level analysis. Also, this might be something that can be associated with more efficient utilization of resources, as it reduces the need for extremely high resolution data. And I'm saying that because although we said that we can move to finer spatial resolutions, if we're not able to acquire a data set in that, let's say, fine level of accessibility of spatial resolutions, or accessibility resolution, spatial resolution, even in parcel level, the analysis might be good enough in order to approximate those strips. And let's say from technology transfer perspective, we were able to deliver a stable and efficient framework for local department transportation to utilize for future planning analysis. I think I'm well within the time schedule. But before concluding my presentation, we have to acknowledge some limitation. Limitation number one is that the validation of the proposed methodology is mainly impacted by the lack of high resolution mobility data. The better data we have, the better insight we'll have about this methodology. And also factors such as hospital quality, insurance coverage, transportation availability, which often constitute critical parameters in real-world access decision making, were not incorporated due to this problem of data limitations. So future work should address these two main limitations in order to be able to provide even better insights. Before concluding, I would like to thank CR2C2. CR2C2 is the Center for Regional and Rural Connected Communities. FAU is part of this University Transportation Center, and we received funding from the U.S. Department of Transportation in order to conduct this research. And also, I would like to thank once again my advisor, Dr. Kaiser, which is part of this research, also Dr. Lagarajan, which was part of this research as well, and his insights were valuable as he has a geomatics background. I think that's all from our end. Thank you so much for your attention. Please feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Yonu. Please hang around we'll need you back for the question and answer session if you'll be available. So let's move to the next presentation. It's now my pleasure to introduce our next presenter, Mr. Robert Daniel. I will leave the title of his paper for him to introduce himself. Mr. Robert Daniel is a Master of Science student in Civil Engineering at the University of North Florida and a graduate research assistant specializing in traffic and transportation engineering. His interests include traffic operations, transportation analytics, traffic modeling, and freight and maritime transportation. His current research focuses on forecasting regional containerized trade flows and developing practical tools for transportation planning. Mr. Daniel? Can you hear us, Mr. Daniel?
Yes. Hello?
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 Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear
Okay, are you ready?
you. Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, you can start your presentation.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let me go ahead and share my screen. I hope you can see the screen. Okay, hello everyone. Thank you very much for this opportunity. My name is Robert and I'm here today with my colleagues Abel and Gabriel. Today we are happy to present our research on this conference, and our research is titled "A Multi-Horizon Machine Learning Models for Forecasting the US-bound Regional Containerized Trade Flow." So in this presentation, we're going to show you how we utilize these machine learning models to forecast the future import container volume coming to the US from Caribbean countries, Central America, and Mexico. Also, we're going to show you our results and how we were able to implement our results into a decision support tool. So, we know that for sure that container demand is critical to the regional supply chain, as we have a lot of container cargoes coming to the countries from those mentioned countries through the port. But forecasting these cargoes is very challenging due to their unstable nature. But at the same time, capacity and other service decisions must be made in advance. So therefore, for this planner, the policymakers and stakeholders in the maritime industry, they have to make decisions in advance before the corresponding cargo volume is actually known. So for them to be able to do the well-informed decision, they need a powerful forecasting models. So to implement this, we utilize shipment records of the import cargo volume from the Caribbean countries, the US, from January 2013 to November 2025. We also supplement this data by adding the microeconomic factors like unemployment rates, population, the industrial production index, the fuel price, and the tariff information. Moving forward, this is the framework that's showing the step that we went through from the trade data to the model engine all the way to the decision supporting tool. So beginning with the trade data. So the main thing that we did here at the trade data, we just cleaning our data sets and aggregated them from the daily data records to the monthly, and also removing unnecessary information that we are not interested in and have no importance in forecasting. also then we did the feature engineering. So here, we just process our data that we have in a way that these machine learning models can be able to learn the seasonality and the trending momentum of this data. So by doing that, we added the lagging and the loading value. Sorry, okay, I can see the equals, what's happening. Okay, so after that, our data set was ready for the training. So the model engine, we separated our data into 3 main groups. The first group being the training data sets, which occupied the 6% of the whole data set that we had. And that was from 2013 to 2021. So here, our models were allowed to learn the trend, any statistical feature of this data. And then the other group was the validation group, which comprises of the 20% of the data set. And here, we are fine-tuning our model so that their forecasting accuracy can be improved. And the remaining data sets were reserved for testing, and by that, we are able to get the performance metrics of this model. And then from there, we got the results, and from the results, we are able to implement them by creating a dashboard, a decision supporting tool. So before I take you to the results, let me quickly explain what is done behind this machine learning model. So this machine learning model, the random forest, XGBoost, LATBM, and CatBoost, they do forecasting by actually generating main decision tree. So for the random forest here, it just generates many trees, and every single tree will do the forecast, but the output will be the average of every forecasted value from every single tree. On the other hand, these boosting models, they also create these trees, but they create them sequentially. So the foreign trees will be generated in such a way that they intend to minimize the error made by the previous tree. So that chain will proceed until when the accuracy of the model is improving. So with that being said, I'm going to switch my mic and allow Abel, who will take you through the results and the remaining part of this discussion.
Thanks, Daniel. Now that Daniel has taken us through the modeling framework, I'll take us through the results, and more importantly, how do we translate those results into practical decision support. So the first question is that, how well do these models actually forecast the container demand? So we evaluated the performance using the 3 complementary measures. The first one was the weight mean absolute percentage error, which measures the overall forecast accuracy. And the second one was the root mean square error, which captures the magnitude of the forecast errors in TEUs. And third one was the forecast bias, which tells us whether model systematically overpredicts or underpredicts the actual demand. So looking at the weight mean absolute percentage error, where the lower the better, the best performance was achieved by the enriched light GBM model at approximately 11%. And for the root mean square error, the lowest error was approximately 1,164 TUs, which was achieved by the baseline XGBoost model. And there is one important observation that we observed here, that is, there is no single model that dominates the performance metrics. And this is why we consider the accuracy, the error magnitude, and forecast bias together, rather than just focusing on the single metrics to make a selection of the model. So we also observed that the negative forecast bias across the methods, there was a negative forecast bias across the methods, which indicates that there is a general underprediction from the models. But the accuracy alone doesn't tell us the whole story. If the forecasts are going to be used to support the decisions, we need to understand what is actually driving them. And this brings us to the model explainability. And here, we use the sharp values to estimate which variables contribute mostly strongly to the prediction from our enriched models. So the first thing that stands out here is the dominance of the historical container volume patterns. So we've seen from the cat boost model and the large GBM models that the rolling mean of the TEUs was the strongest predictive attribute, and followed by the TEU lagging features. However, the external variables such as unemployment rate, the GDP, the population, the fuel price also provided the additional predictive information, but their contribution was relatively smaller, probably because their signal was already captured from the historical data. So now, from the planning perspective, the key takeaway here is that the recent and the recurring trade patterns contain the substantial information about future container demand. But the next question becomes, how do we move now from an accurate and explainable forecast to something that transportation decision makers can actually use? This is where we move from the prediction now to application. Rather than just allowing the forecasting models to remain simply as analytical output, we developed a decision support environment that brings together the trade analytics, the forecast results, and the reporting capabilities together in an interactive interface. And Gabriel is going to take you through that in details when I finish. Now, since we have presented this work to the International Conference on Transport, Logistics, and Management here in Tanzania, an important question for us is that what could this framework mean to the Tanzanian shipping industry? Although we have seen that most of the data that we have used, they are bound on the US regional container trade. So we believe that the broader value of this research extends more beyond that specific market, because we believe that the fundamental for making decisions in the shipping industry is the same. The shipping decisions needs to be made today about, for example, how the capacity to deploy, how frequently to provide the service, how to plan the network, while the future cargo demand remains uncertain. So we are not suggesting that the US results themselves to be simply transferred to Tanzania, but what we believe is transferable is the forecasting and the decision support framework. And that process begins with understanding the future cargo demand. So if the historical Tanzania trade data can be used to anticipate the future container volumes, operators can gain earlier visibility into what demand may look like in the coming month. And this is what we call the cargo demand forecasting. But knowing the future alone is only useful if we can translate that information into operational decision. For example, if we expect, let's say, the demand to increase or to decrease during a particular period, that information can support the decision, let's say, on sailing frequency, the vessel capacity, and even the equipment requirements. And once we begin to connect the demand and capacity, we can take the analysis one step further from individual services now to the broader network. So combining the expected demand with factors such like voyage distance, the capacity utilization, operating costs, the same framework now can start to create to identify the opportunity that can result into a more efficient network planning. Of course, the decisions that are made, they're not in a static environment. We understand that the fuel prices keep on changing, the trade volume also change, and the market condition also change. So rather than just relying on a single forecast of the future, our framework can allow the decision maker to test the different scenario. For example, what happens to our planning decisions if the fuel prices increase, or if the trade grows in the region than expected, or if the demand across the market shift. So, and when we put this together, the logic becomes simple that we started with the data trade, with the trade data, and then that generated the forecasts. And then from the forecast, we get the planning insights. And then from the planning insights, the ultimate goal is to get the efficient and the most resilient tool. So for Tanzania, the opportunity is not simply to use the data to understand what happened in the past. The opportunity is to increasingly use the data to anticipate what may happen next and to make a better planning decision before it happens. So I welcome Gabriel to display the tool in brief, just to show you the important feature, the capability that our tool can do so far. So Gabriel, over to you. Gabriel? Okay.
All right, thank you. So,
Lost him.
sorry for the delay. Let me share the screen. All
Hello?
right, I hope the screen is visible. Yes, thank you very much for this opportunity again. So I'm going to continue from where Abdul ended, and today I'm going to showcase a tool we have been building with one of our research partners, Crowley Maritime, which is a major US-owned operated logistic company here in the US. The system has two main modules, and the first is the analytics module, where we analyze historical shipping data. Where we analyze historical shipping data to understand the past performance and market trends. And the second one will be the forecasting module, where we will use that historical information to predict the future shipping activity. I'll begin with the analytics module and briefly explain what each chart tells us. We'll start with these summary cards, which show the total container volume, the market share, the number of costs, the services, carriers, and commodities in the selected data. And also right below, we have the service mix chart, which just shows how various shipping services are being handled and how they handle the most container volume. We also have the seasonal demand, which shows months that are usually the busiest or the quickest. It points further from the center mean to high average demand. We also have the TEU distribution by coast, which shows how the volume is dividend among the coastal regions. And we also have the market share by carrier, which shows each carrier, each port carrier, and the role they play in the market. And we also move to top commodities by TEU, which shows us which commodities are being moved the most on the selected data. We also have the TEU volume over time, which shows us how the TEU volume ranges from time to time during certain seasons of the year based on the selected data. We also have the market volume and share by carrier, where we can view the top 5 carriers and the role they share in terms of the market volume in each month of a certain selected year. We can move below to the carrier momentum versus scale, where in this chart we show the carrier momentum versus the scale groups, where we divided into 4 categories. We can see the large carriers and the growing carriers, but we can also view the small and growing carriers. We can also view the large carriers, but which are declining. We can also view the small carriers, which are declining. We can move to the next chart, which is the carrier specialization profile, which shows commodities in each major carrier, which shows the commodities each major carrier is stronger in. We can also have the market concentration chart, and this the biggest message is it measures how competitive the market is, where green means volume is spread across many carriers, and red means a smaller number of carriers dominate the market. We can move to the market. We can move to the TEU trend monthly, which is shows the trend of TEUs across the months. We can also move to top 5 commodities and bottom 5 commodities by TEU volume across the market. Also, we have the carrier comparison heat map, where we have various carriers and we can compare which carriers dominate in which in which months of the year in terms of volume. And also right below on our last chart, we have the detailed movements in terms of how we can visualize the whole data and use it for our purposes. And next, let's go to the second module, which is the forecasting module. And here I'm going to present it quickly in 3 parts, where we have the near-term planning, long-term outlook, and the what-if and scenarios. On the near-term planning, the forecast approach that has been used here is there are 2 approaches. The first approach is the market-aware approach, where we use enriched data. And by enriched data, I mean that we use socio-economic drivers like inflation, GDP, and fuel prices to drive the forecasting. And for historical only approach, we use shipment history and seasonality data to drive our forecasts. In this example that I have here, we have the market aware for 12 months, whereby the left part, as you see from here, this is just the historical data, and from where the line begins, November 2025 ahead, this is the predictions that we have. for the year 2026 from December 2025 to November 2026. And these forecasts are the ones that have been used based on the market-aware approach, where we have used the socio-economic drivers to drive this forecast. We also have other artifacts that have already been forecasted for the market-aware for 24 months, but we also have the historical only for 12 months, and we also have the historical only for 24 months. Yeah, so next, I'll move to the long-term outlook.
Mr. Daniel.
And here we...
Mr. Daniel, if you can summarize and conclude, we are running short of time.
Oh.
Thank you.
All right. For the long-term outlook, it's the same as the near-term plan outlook, but here we focus more on the range of 3 years to 5 years, where we strategically look, and here the focus is only on the market aware. And for the what-if scenarios, this is the main part used for planning, where people can adjust the values for tariff, GDP, population, fuel, inflation, and employment, and recalculate the forecast to see how these socioeconomic factors play a part in defining the TUs per monthly or per yearly. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Daniel. So please stick around, because at the end of this session we'll have a live Q&A interaction. So we are heading towards the last presentation of our session, which is a keynote speech on a very currently popular topic: artificial intelligence applications in transportation engineering in the United States. And hopefully audience will learn something for Tanzania as well. And our keynote speech presenter is Professor Priyanka Allure from Florida International University. She received a doctoral degree in civil engineering from Clemson University in 2010. Her research focuses on transportation safety, traffic operations, intelligent transportation systems, connected and automated vehicle technologies, and transportation system management and operations. So she has many research grants, and she has co-authored over more than 250 journal and conference papers. Dr. Priyanka Allure, are you around?
Yes, sir, I am. It's online.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. You have 25 minutes, but we are running really short of time. If you could squeeze your presentation within 20 minutes, we'll also appreciate. So you can proceed.
Sure, thank you, definitely. Yeah. Okay, perfect. I'm assuming you can see my screen and you can hear me well? Can you see my screen and can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah,
we can see you and we can hear you.
Sorry. Yes, thank you so much. So good afternoon, everybody. I would like to thank the organizing committee for giving me this opportunity to talk about a very exciting topic that is on everyone's mind, which is the AI applications in transportation engineering. My name is Priyanka Allure. I'm a professor at Florida International University. And as I said, my research is in safety and operations. I am so sorry that I cannot be there in person, but I plan to attend the next meeting in Tanzania next year in person. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. So before I begin, I would like to thank my students, because they are the force behind this presentation and all my research. So I do have several students from Tanzania. I have Enoch, Odilo, Amy, Dennis, and Paul from India, and that is my research group with my past and current students. Whatever I'm speaking today, it is based on an ongoing research project with the Florida Department of Transportation here in the United States. And Dennis is the one who has been working on this research project. So the slides, if they're pretty, thanks to Dennis. If they're not, then it's on me. So when I was asked to talk about a topic, AI in transportation engineering, I know that I definitely want to talk about the existing AI applications and potential AI applications. But before that, I thought that maybe I would like to talk about where did we start with AI and where are we heading? What is the timeline of AI adoption? And from my perspective, what are the 3 generations of AI in transportation? We all agree that that the latest buzzword is AI. We are either scared, excited, anxious, or skeptical about AI. So let me ask you a question. So can AI predict where the next crash will occur? Yes, maybe, but yes, definitely yes. Can AI help design safer roads? Yes. Can AI optimize traffic signals across an entire city or a state? Yes. Can AI replace a transportation engineer? For that, I believe that the answer is no, not in our generation and not in the immediate next generation. That's what I think. However, I want to have a caveat there that the transportation engineers who are proficient or comfortable with AI might replace the ones who are not comfortable with AI. So AI is here to stay. So we might as well just accustom to it and look at how we can use AI applications to improve safety and mobility on our roads. So again, when we talk about transportation engineering, what are the 2 words that come to your mind when you want to explain what transportation engineering is? The 2 words to me that come to my mind are data and decisions. If I have to explain to my mom what we do as a transportation engineer, I would like to say that we use data to make decisions. And when we say that, what data are we talking about? We are talking about traffic counts, speed data, crash data, travel time, traffic models. And these are all the data that AI would be using in order to help make informed decisions. And by decisions, what decisions are we making? We are estimating demand using counts, identifying safety problems where people are speeding, identifying high crash locations, evaluating conditions. All of these decisions are based on data, and that is where AI is strong at. So the next question that comes is like, did we all wake up one day in 2022 and AI is flip a switch and AI is all around us? No. So when we look at the timeline, which I kind of like to credit, and 1950, that is way before I was born, between 1950s and 70s, where the transportation is just really getting started with at least in the United States, with the interstate system, it is the humans that we define the rules and we drive the transportation engineering. And later, what we got are calculators and computers, Excel. I'm sure you still remember Access. MS, Microsoft Access, and we have AutoCAD, Civil 3D, etc., where we are using computers to do the most of the calculations. And later, in the later 1990s and early 2000s, we have the ITS. And now comes the most interesting or exciting part, where we have the machine learning, the deep learning, computer vision, and more recently, the generative AI in the last couple of years. And what the future holds? Autonomous AI, where AI is going to learn from the decisions and help us, or maybe even make the decisions for us. So with this, I'm going to skip a couple of these slides in the interest of time. So when I think about AI, I do not believe that AI just came yesterday or last year, and it has been around. It's just that we did not know it as AI. The first generation, I would call it, which was maybe at least 5 to 10 years ago, we have the first generation where we are predicting crashes, predicting traffic, pattern recognition, video processing, automatically identifying dangerous locations for safety improvements, and automatically counting traffic. And this is more what we have, or maybe a couple of years ago, which is signal optimization, dynamic routing, dynamic tolling, incident management, automatic incident detection, variable speed limits, variable tolling, transit scheduling, and also work zone management. And we have the upcoming, or where we are stepping into the third generation, where we do have autonomous vehicles, connected vehicles. We also have adaptive traffic networks, AI integrated or AI controlled intersections, where the traffic signals are completely controlled, or signal timings are changed by AI based on incidents, planned and unplanned events, weather events, etc. So what does it take in order to have or deploy AI applications? So the first thing that we need, if we are to deploy any type of AI application, is data. Data is a new oil. It is a new currency. The person or the agency that holds access to the data is the one who is going to make significant improvements or changes. When we talk about data, it is not just CCTV cameras. We have data, as the previous presenters talked about. We have GPS data, we have data from roadway sensors, we have transit data, weather data, crash, connected vehicles, drones, etc. But having the data itself is not sufficient because we need models or algorithms, right? We have machine learning, deep learning, computer vision, natural language processing, the generative AI, and reinforcement learning. And with the algorithms comes the most difficult part, which is the computing, where we have cloud computing, edge computing. And we do all of these three things in order to make transportation decisions that are to improve safety, mobility, accessibility, improve operations, and sustainability. So I have, again, when we talk about yesterday, what we have with respect to transportation system, what we had yesterday were roads, vehicles, and signals. Simple. But right now, at least in the United States, I'm sure it is the same case with Tanzania as well, is that we have a lot of other infrastructure on the roads. We have sensors, we have cameras, we have connected devices, and also we have a lot of data. We have crowdsourced data, we have data collected from detectors, from sensors, cameras, and other data sources. And tomorrow, the future, what we have is we're going to combine all of these sensors, cameras, devices, etc., and club them as one, which is the infrastructure, which is, you would say, Internet of Things, and then we have the artificial intelligence, and then we have the humans who work with AI in order to make the most efficient decisions to improve safety and mobility on our roads. So where are we headed? We are headed towards a predictive environment where we are not going to wait for crashes or congestion, but we predict them beforehand. We are heading towards an adaptive environment where transportation systems, such as, say, for example, the simplest example that we can relate to is traffic signal timing, which continuously adjusts to the existing conditions, or dynamic tolling. And we are going towards a perceptive environment where AI understands what is happening, and we as humans do not feed in the information to the AI model because it has the capability to extract the same information and infer from it through the cameras, sensors, and connected vehicles. And also next, we have the generative AI, where AI becomes an engineering co-pilot who works alongside the engineers. And finally, we have autonomous AI, which moves from recommending decisions to actually taking action. So, again, I've provided a little bit of background about AI and where we were and where we are headed. But in the next few slides, I'm going to quickly go over some of the existing AI applications in transportation engineering. As I mentioned, this is a part of a funded research project, and one of my students was actually from Tanzania, Dennis. He was working on this. What we did was we surveyed all the state departments of transportation, all the 50 states, to identify if there are any AI applications that they're using in transportation engineering. And in the next few slides, I'm going to quickly talk about these applications so that you can start thinking about how these applications could be deployed or adapted to Tanzania. The first application is a wrong-way alert system. This alert system, what it does is it prevents head-on crashes caused by drivers who are going the wrong way on an interstate or a freeway or a highway. So what it does is it reduces these collisions by detecting the vehicles that are going the wrong way, and or not only that, but issuing warnings or informing both the wrong way driver and the people who are driving the right way in real time, and also informing the police and the first responders to mention that we have a person who's driving the wrong way, we need to be, intercepting them as quickly as possible. And the AI technologies are like computer vision and anomaly detection. We do have an asset management which was being deployed by Hawaii DOT, What it does is to track, evaluate, and maintain roadway infrastructure, like the pavement, signs, pavement markings, guardrails, etc., so that to make sure that they are in a serviceable condition. For example, we have millions and millions of miles of roads, of lane miles in the United States. For example, in Florida alone, we have about, I think, 2 million local miles of roads. So it is almost next to impossible to keep track of which pavement markings, which signs on which roads are need improvement or need to be serviced or repaved or remarked, right? So what Hawaii is doing is like it is using the aerial images from the satellite images and computer vision in order to identify locations where the roadway infrastructure such as pavement, signs, markings, guardrails need improvements or need to be replaced. We have second, it is a crash application which was deployed by Minnesota DOT. What it does is like it uses AI in order to clean, geolocate, and visualize crash data into a map-ready database. I'm assuming again, I've never been to Tanzania, but my students they work on crash databases or crash records from Tanzania, and I believe that this application would be very apt and adaptable to the roads or crashes in Tanzania because data cleaning and geolocating is quite resource intensive. We have utility mapping, which is a very interesting AI application, which is not really transportation related but it helps with the transportation for the transportation sector, which is using AI to map the subsurface utilities to support traffic safety by identifying the underground utilities so that when you have a bulldozer coming to dig up the ground, they know where the underground utilities are and where the work zone risks are. Again, this is also a part of the data acquisition and data maintenance part, and IODOT is working on, is using this technology, this AI application. We have AI-based decision support system. Along the interstates in the United States, several agencies focus on integrated corridor management, where the goal is to improve the safety and operations on these limited access facilities, and also reduce the travel time, reduce the congestion. So what Tennessee has been doing is like it has been using AI, the multi-agent reinforcement learning and machine learning, in order to use or to deploy the lane control signs, ram meters or dynamic tolling to make sure that the traffic runs smoothly and safely on these corridors. This is not a statewide deployment per se, it is just on one corridor, I-24 corridor. They call it a smart corridor because it is equipped with all the sensors that we can think of, and it is in Tennessee. We do have an automatic incident detection. This is being deployed in Georgia by Georgia DOT, where the agency is using computer vision and CCTV cameras to automatically detect an incident. So instead of waiting for somebody to call 911 or to call 511 and report an incident, because it will be too late to send some police or some EMS, emergency medical services. So in Georgia, what they're using is they're using real-time camera feeds from CCTV cameras to identify and detect incidents automatically and act on them. We have in Florida, this is one is in North Carolina, we have the real-time intersection performance monitoring, where the one exciting thing about this application is that in North Carolina, they are using this AI traffic signal optimization across over 2,500 signals. Imagine the scale and scope of this project, where almost over 2,500 signals in North Carolina are being optimized using AI. So this would help with real-time monitoring, issue detection, so to improve the mobility, reduce the travel time and congestion. We have one more application, which is HABARI, which is the high definition engineering intersection data. This is within Florida, in the Orlando area, that would be the Central Florida, where they are using AI to count in real time the turning movement at signalized intersections, so So that data could be used later on for signal optimization, condition management, and safety-focused operations. Again, the way I see it is like Florida DOT could use this application in order to do the real-time turning count and feed that into the real-time intersection performance monitoring system, so that everything could be the entire signal operations within Florida could be automated and improvised. So quickly, the summary of current AI applications. Again, this is just for you to just get a very high-level overview of what AI applications are currently being deployed in the United States. We have the wrong-way alert system to prevent head-on crashes caused by wrong-way drivers on freeways. We have asset management to track, evaluate, and maintain roadway infrastructure. We have city and crash to draw insights from raw crash data records. We have automated incident detection to detect and verify incidents in real time automatically using CCTV cameras. We have subsurface utility technology to identify underground utilities so that they don't be cut off when a road work or work zone is in progress. We have AI-based decision support system, which is to improve highway performance, safety, and mobility along a specific corridor. We have real-time intersection performance monitoring to monitor intersections and detect incidents at signalized intersections or in urban areas in real time. We have HABARI, which is to obtain real-time turning movements at intersections. So this, whatever I just discussed or mentioned so far, are what are the AI applications that currently the United States are pursuing. But what I want to have, the next slide, I'm almost done, is to identify what are the other potential AI applications that could be used that are not what was discussed up until now. And I wanted to identify these potential AI application use cases, if you will, based on the data. So once we have the data, we could identify or see how AI algorithms and models and computing power could be used to analyze or process that data to come up with a meaningful use case. The first one, the most commonly available data is the CCTV camera feeds. And this feeds could be used for incident detection, which we already talked about, but we could also use it for end of queue or rapid slowdown detection. It could be used for identifying work zone intrusion, for vulnerable road user detection at intersections, which will be pedestrians or bicyclists who are jaywalking, kids who are running across the street to go to McDonald's on the other side or to go to the school on the other side. We also have AI-based railroad crossing safety and obviously wrong-way driving detection, which we already talked about. These are the applications using CCTV cameras. And we do have some of the applications that use traffic volume and congestion data, which would be traffic anomaly detection, which was also discussed earlier in the day. And we also have the AI-based predictive traffic management system. When we use using the detector data, we can predict traffic conflicts. You can identify traffic anomalies, and we also can use the identify or detect vulnerable road users, that is the pedestrians and bicyclists, not only who might be jaywalking at a signalized or an unsignalized intersection. And we do have other data sets that are not that common or not that traditional within the transportation sector, where we could use data from, in the US, we have NOAA, which is the weather data, to use the AI-driven weather response traffic safety or evacuation routes in the case of hurricanes, tornadoes, etc., where we could use AI-based evacuation routing and decision support system. We could use AI-based infrastructure risk and pavement defect detection. Again, these are some of the potential AI applications that could be drawn from the data that we currently have in the United States. And bear with me, this is my last slide. So I do have some food for thought. I was wondering that, having listened to all the AI applications that are currently being deployed and potential AI applications, what do you think? Which of these AI applications can make sense for Tanzania now or today, and which require infrastructure that Tanzania may not yet have but would aspire to have in the coming months or years? So I believe that most of these AI applications are very much adaptable or untransferable to any region or any country. All that is needed are good models and the data in order to train the models and then to do the prediction. So, but with that, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk about the AI applications in the US. So thank you, and I'll pause here to see if you have any questions.
Thank you very much, Professor Alur. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving our speaker a well-deserved round of applause. Professor, can you hang around? We are just starting a Q&A session. I've been informed we are seriously running short of time. So we had 30 minutes for discussion, but we are going to try and squeeze it within 10, 20 or 15 minutes. I was informed that you are supposed to submit your question through this. So organizers, when I try to access, I'm asked for an event code. I don't know whether others have managed. There is an event code. Oh, really? Okay. Then, okay. So, audience, I think there is this QR code on your tables, I guess. So if you want to ask a question, then you can. There are already about 5 questions, okay? Okay. 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 Okay, so Professor Sando, can you come in front of you? I'll be standing so you can sit there. Yeah, so the first question is from Dr. Stefano. I think it's directed towards Professor Sando. Can you please share your experience on the use of technology like drones, specifically the legal framework as smart logistics? Just have a seat, and then I'm just trying to read questions, and then there is another question to Dr. Stewart. Can you explain your research in simple, non-technical language? What is main solution? What is main solution of the AI-ready data reuse? Okay, and then there's a question to Rasa. How efficient and safe are the automated trains in case of accidents? Who will be held responsible if the train is 100% automated? Let's start with those questions, 3 questions, starting with Professor Sando. Is it working?
Hello? Yeah, so the question I believe is they want me to give some insight on the use of drones in transportation engineering. So I happen to be one of those people who use drones for data collection, for traffic data collection. As a matter of fact, Professor Priyanka Alluri that just finished presenting, one of her students, Amy Aima, just came to Jacksonville, where I live, to collect data using drones, I think just like a month ago. I work with a group, so Dr. Alluri is one of my colleagues. You see, she has a lot of Tanzanian students. You heard some of my students present some work on marine freight. So we collect data using drones. So this is what happened. Number one, in the United States, for you to be able to use drones to collect data, first of all, you have to have what they call a drone pilot license. So my students normally take an exam and they become drone pilot licensed so that they can be allowed to collect data using drones. So once they once they have a license, then there's an app and there are regulations that they're supposed to follow. For example, they are not supposed to, you're not allowed to fly a drone within 4 miles from the airport. It has to be at least 5 miles. But there's an app that will show you the restricted areas. You're not supposed to collect data close to the military base and so forth. And normally what we do is it doesn't allow us to collect data. We can fly a drone, but the highest we can go is 400 feet above ground. So that's what we do. We collect data using drones, and it's more effective. Just imagine if you were to collect traffic data or to do traffic data monitoring at the junction Mwenge and Samnujoma. It's going to be very hard for you to just do manual data collection or to have a camera, but if you have a drone, you can fly it high enough that you can see very far, you can see all the queues, you can identify the length of the queues, unmet demands, and a lot of other traffic metrics that are hard to find using just a normal camera or doing manual data collection. I want to mention though that there are some limitations of using drones. Number one, most of drones have a battery that lasts only 30 minutes. So if you're collecting data for a few hours, you need to have multiple drones so that you can, when one comes down, another one goes up, and you can mosaic the data so that you have data for a long time, so that you can collect data during the peak hour and beyond that peak hour. But other things about drones, I know other speakers also have to respond to questions we can discuss during lunchtime. But I'm more than glad to discuss with you and to collaborate if we have to do anything with drones. Now, some of the students that you saw, they are computer science students, and we have developed computer algorithms that if you give us drone footage, then we can collect a lot, we can produce a lot of metrics that we use in transportation engineering.
Thank you very much, Professor Sando. The second question, I don't know, it's directed to Dr. Stewart. Who did you meet? Sarawat. I think it's Sarawat, isn't it? Yeah. Did you understand the question? Did you understand the question?
You repeat the question.
Yeah, it's, I think it's mistyped, so I will try to. Question to Dr. Sarawat, can you explain, it's not explain, but can you explain, can you explain research in simple, non-technical language? What is the main solution of AI-ready data in engineering? Something like that, but that is my interpretation, but there are a lot of typos, so I can't. Okay. But if you can respond to that briefly.
Okay, in simple terms, my solution to my research is, we know we have the transport data, and in our case, the traffic data. So the traffic data is very useful for AI analytics. At the moment, we can collect new data, large amount of new data, but we know this process is very expensive and costful, because when collecting the traffic data, we have to use the sensors, and in developing countries, that can be a problem. So for my case, I dealt with data scarcity environment, like especially Dar es Salaam. So my proposed architecture come in handy, because our architecture is a way of organizing and cleaning, integrating, and reusing this data so as to achieve different ITS tasks. So because this proposed architecture is made up of different layers, so through these layers from the acquisition, we can achieve a synthetic data set, and from this data set, we can be able to do different ITS tasks, as I have demonstrated, like the traffic congestion, the anomaly detection, and as well as the incident anomaly detection, etc.
Thank you very
that's all.
Oh, thank you very much. So, Dr. Urassa, I think there are, there's an additional one. The first one was how efficient and safe are the automated trains In case of accidents, who will be held responsible if the train is 100% automated? And another one is, I would like to understand, since your TPP framework was tested and recommended for deployment and evaluation within the European railway network, could it also be actionable and applicable in addressing the challenges facing Tanzania's railway sector? So, if you can respond to those briefly, 2 questions.
Well, thank you.
I think they are running short of batteries, so you can use the latest.
Yeah, thank you for your question. That's very thoughtful question. And I'll begin with the first one. How efficient and safe is automation? What I can say is the driverless train is not a new thing in railway. We do have a completely full and autonomous train, unattended train, that they're operating without a driver. And the reason is we have a full fenced train and a lot of protection system. And for now, in case of accident in railway, it can not really caused by human error, because there's a lot of safety layers, because the railway safety is very first important thing in railway. So there's no compromise in railway safety. So the thing is, we are trying now to translate the technology which we are having in a metro, for example, which is currently running in an autonomous system, to this open network. So in terms of efficient, I guess we will be more or less the same as in metro system, which also run in full autonomous. And the second question is who will be responsible in case of accident? Well, if accident happen in railway, as I've said, it's not really caused by human, because there's a lot of protection system. There's this ETCS, CTCS, they are very sophisticated system which prevent human error. So even in case of train drivers on board the train, driving the train, if accident happen, it's not the one who is responsible, because it could be something else which is way beyond our control, like, let's say, landslide or some other natural hazard. So I can't really say who will be responsible, because even at the moment, when the train driver is on board, still, we don't know who is responsible, because it's something like natural catastrophe. Don't know if I've answered the question.
Yes.
Thank you.
I believe so. So we are running short of time, and I think those were the only questions. Some more have come, but I think we should close. We're running short of time. So to our presenters online, we thank you very much for taking your time and presenting your papers. Thank you very much. Audience, let's give ourselves a round of applause for the session. I will now hand over to organizers for housekeeping issues. I think explanation regarding the lunch, etc. Thank you very much.
Sorry, presenters, wale walio present session, please. Presenters, can you come back on the stage, please? Presenters of these sessions, please, can you come back on the stage? We just have a group photo for our first session.
Wametuthibitisha nchini kimataifa ya TANAISA, wametuthibitisha tunalea mabingwa wa usafirishaji. NIT safari ya mafanikio, chuo cha taifa